A couple dollars, yeah. Yeah.
We're back. Week 2 of Maloney's Moneyline on the Brew Party podcast is here with a very special guest, a friend of the party, a friend of the program. We are so excited to have her on this iteration of the Brew Party on Maloney's Moneyline. It is Jordyn Erard-Coupe. You know her, maybe SportyJordy, from the Liberty Line, from Onside Chicks podcast, from Fantasy Underdogs podcast. What else am I what else am I missing, Jordyn?
I think you checked. Oh, Walter Picks. I'm Walter Picks content creator. And then we've checked all boxes.
So you are our resident Eagles fan. How are you doing? How are you feeling? After week 1, the only team in the NFC least to win their week 1 game.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling on top of the world right now. Anything is possible for us. We came out, I set low expectations and was completely blown out of the water. So thrilled after week 1 and excited to take on the 49ers in week 2.
Of course. So before we kind of get into everything, I just mentioned all those awesome projects you're a part of. Do you want to go ahead and plug yourself real quick? Let us know where we can find you.
Yeah, so basically the big thing is on social media, I am everywhere at the SportyJordy, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you do your social media. My big thing is my YouTube channel, that's SportyJordy, posting weekly content there. And then, doing a bunch of other shows. Onside Chicks streams live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube and Twitch. We also have the Fantasy Underdog Podcast that goes live an hour and a half before games start on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And then I do a bunch of Eagles fantasy and betting content for Walter Picks over at eagles.walterpicks on TikTok. We are all over the board.
You are just everywhere, my friend, everywhere. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you here to give out your best bets for week 2 of the NFL. Mr. Maloney, you're back for week 2. First of all, hold this L real quick, Ryan. I'm sorry. We're not negative. We want each other to do well, but I was the week 1 winner, shockingly. We're all surprised, of Maloney's Moneyline Season 2. I finished last week at 6-2. Ryan had a couple bad beats, finished at 4-4. And it was great to be back. Great to be back in the gambling world, Ryan, but I'm sure you didn't love the results.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get in the swing of things. Knock that rust off at the beginning of the year. But yeah, we're hoping for a better week this week.
Absolutely. So, fuck it, guys. Let's just get right into this. So we each have our 8 picks. I think Jordyn has 7. And then me and Ryan have a couple extra college football picks, couple teaser picks we're going to give for everybody. So, Jordy, since you are our guest, we're going to let you go first. You can hit us with your favorite. So what is your game, your favorite you were looking at for this week?
My favorite bet for this weekend. This is a team that I was so gung-ho about all offseason. I got so much hate for being so on this train. Everyone told me this team was going to be 500 at best. They weren't expecting much. Came out week 1. Won me a bunch of money, blew it out of the water. Now I am so excited for week 2. Cardinals -4 against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are a team I am super uncertain about. I just feel like they don't know who they are. I feel like they're in this very weird period. And the Cardinals, we can't deny it now. The Cardinals are so good. They have figured themselves out. If they, especially this defense, which I think had the biggest question marks after last season, when you have Chandler Jones coming out and getting 5 sacks in 1 game, you just know you're set up beautifully for the rest of this year. So yes, Arizona -4 against the Vikings, I think is a great bet.
I like that too. I flirted with having it on my card. I ended up keeping it off. I do have the total for this game on my card coming later. But yeah, there's 38-13 win for Arizona in what is it, at Tennessee too in week one. Huge win for them. And then Minnesota with the disappointing 27-24 loss to Cincinnati. They did come storming back to send it to overtime, but just leaving with a bad taste in their mouths, I'm sure. I love Arizona -4 here. I think Anthony Barr and Everson Griffin are out for Minnesota too, so I think that really hurts them defensively and will just open up what Kyler Murray is able to do even more,
which is scary because the options that he has on offense are just endless as is.
Just like you forget that they have AJ Green alongside DeAndre Hopkins. Then Rondell Moore was an awesome pickup for them in the draft this year too. Their defense is fucking scary now. I love Arizona -4 this week. Ryan, we're going to move over to you. Your favorite of the week, my friend.
All right, my favorite, I'm going to go with Saints -3.5 versus Carolina. The Saints-Packers game was actually one of the games, like, after the morning game or the noon games, took a nap on my couch, woke up to the Saints just kind of pummeling the Packers, and Jordan Love was in the game, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And so I love the Saints this week. I think Jameis is looking great. So yeah, I mean, a lot of my picks on my card are a 3.5 spread, which I don't love, but I think there's a few of these games that could end up being 2-score games.
Yeah, I feel like week 2 is one of the hardest weeks as far as like betting goes. Like, because you have you just have one game. You just have one game to build like all of your fucking takes on these teams on. So, and it's so much can change in 1 week. But I didn't love a lot of the lines, to be honest with you. I feel like Go ahead,
I thought
Jordyn.
week 1 was so tough just because there was so much movement in this offseason and this draft was so crazy. But once we got through week 1, week 2 is definitely even worse because you kind of have this 1 game sample size. And then you don't really know if it was a fluke, if they're going to remain that consistent, if they were actually that terrible. Like, you just don't know who's going to come out and be great moving forward. So it is a very weird feeling. Hi, Sam. I love you.
Sam Cardona from the Girl Who Talks Sports podcast checking in saying, hi, friends. Thank you so much for being here, Sam. Thanks for joining me earlier this week. Go check out that episode of The Brew Party with Sam, our week 1 NFL recap on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. But yes, I completely agree with you. And Ryan, I agree with you on this pick. I am taking Jameis and the New Orleans Saints -3.5 at Carolina. I wasn't impressed by Carolina's win over New York in week 1. I think the only thing to talk about from that game was that weird, like, half like virtual reality panther or whatever they did before the game. Like, that's terrifying. Where is Sir Purr when you need him? Jesus Christ. But no, I love the Saints here. I have a couple numbers. Like, they are one of the best teams in the NFL against the spread, like from the past, like 3 years. So they're 24-6 against the spread after a win since 2018, 18-6 against the spread on the road since 2018, and 12-5 as away favorites since 2018. I know Jameis by himself isn't great as a favorite against the spread, but I look for him being on the Saints in a better situation than he was in Tampa Bay. And I just think they're the better team here. I think they go on the road. I think they easily win this by more than 3 points. So yeah, that is our favorites for the week. Let's move on to our underdogs. Ryan, give us yours first.
All right. So you mentioned earlier, I mean, we have a few more college picks later, but for my underdog, I'm going with the Florida Gators +14.5 versus Bama -110. Pretty sure Dan Mullen, out of the SEC coaches, has the most experience against Bama. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously they lost Pitts, they lost Trask, but you know, it's always a good game with these two teams. So I think if it was +14, I might not have taken it, but that half point kind of got me. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really high scoring game. So I'm just going to stay in this game and also give my over. I'm going with the over of 60. Two very good SEC teams. I expect a lot of touchdowns in this game. So should be a good one. And I think Florida can cover. So we'll see.
So Dan Mullen for his career is 0-12 straight up against Alabama.
Yeah, it's not great.
That includes his 2 stops at Mississippi State and Florida. But I think against the spread, he's like 8-4, which that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Like the SEC championship game last year, they were able to cover 14.5. Does seem like a lot of points. This is Bryce Young's first start on the road in an environment like the Swamp. Is not easy. It's tough. This is going to be a tough game. Like we said it, I think Ryan at the beginning of the year just bet on Bama every week and you'll probably end up plus money. But I know you're a Gators fan, so it's hard to do that.
Yeah, I can't take Bama in this game.
No, I'm a Gators fan too. I would take them plus 14.5.
Are you guys concerned about the Gators quarterback situation though? Emory Jones, 4 interceptions already through 2 games. And what is it? Richardson? Is that his name? If you ignore the snap count, because he only has like 32 snaps, he through 2 weeks, he's PFF's highest rated quarterback in the country. And he's their backup. He's averaging 21 yards per touch. I know Dan Mullen said both of them are gonna play, but I think there's gonna have to be a certain point where you're just gonna have to name Richardson the starter. I think he gives the Gators a better chance to stay in this game. So those are Ryan's 2 picks. Florida plus 14.5 and the over. I don't know, Ryan. We'll have to. I got to think on it. Jordy, let's go to your underdog. Go ahead. I know Ryan. Ryan's gonna love this.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I am a diehard. I always say the Miami Dolphins are my AFC team. I ride with them all the time. Big fins up person. I love it. And after what we saw, so my underdog pick is Dolphins plus 3.5. I'm honestly going on a limb and putting my money on Dolphins money line. I am that certain that they are going to come out and beat the Buffalo Bills this weekend. I was in a bet with a coworker last week that the Dolphins were going to beat the Patriots, and it was a much closer game than I anticipated, but yet they still pulled out a win, and that was all I needed, which was great. The Buffalo Bills, I'm not concerned for them long term. I think they're going to be completely fine, but I think after last week, they couldn't figure it out, and they're going to be shaken up going against a division rival, and Miami just seems to be getting hotter and hotter. Will Fuller won't be playing, but he didn't play week 1 either, so we know this offense can still make something happen even without him. So I am fully riding with the Dolphins here. Sam, I love the Bills too. This was hard, but
this is a tough
So it's
game.
on my card too later on. But I was texting Andy and I looked at my card and it was all favorites, and I was like, I hate to bet against the Bills, but I got to take the Dolphins underdog, especially at home too.
So I've got some numbers for you guys that are going to make you love this pick even more. Since 2018, that's coming. So after a loss, both of these teams lost in week 1. Miami is 15-9 against the spread. Buffalo is only 9-10. As a home underdog, Miami is 11-6 against the spread.
I like that.
And so that's since 2018. So the past 3 years, a little bit of a sample size here. And then as an away favorite, Buffalo's 5-3 since, but that's like pretty close there. I love Miami in this game to cover the spread. I think they were the league leaders just last year against the spread. The spread. So.
Yeah, Dolphins against the spread last season was literally my second income. I
took it every single week.
Every week.
It was a running joke on this show that Ryan is going to take the Dolphins every week, and they were 12-5 against the spread last 11-5 against the spread last year. Just ridiculous. And it sucks because, Sam did say go Bills. We love the Bills on this podcast too. So it's just like we're just ripping our hearts into pieces for week 2. So either way, I think it's going to be a great game. Miami plus 3.5. Ryan and Jordyn are both on that. For my underdog of the week, let me find it here. This is tough, but I'm taking Tennessee plus 6.5 at Seattle. I think it's too many points. I think this is going to be a good game. I know, Jordyn, you talked about how good Arizona looked against Tennessee in week 1. I don't love that, but I also just think there's so many pieces on this offense. Like something's got to give at some point, right? Like I also, Seattle looked pretty good against Indianapolis. I mean, defensively, they didn't let them do much. Russ got whatever he wanted.
Yes.
For real. But I don't know. I look for a bounce back game here from Tennessee. I feel like they are not as bad as they looked in week 1.
No, I agree. And I like Tennessee with the points. I would take Seahawks money line because I do think they're going to come out on top, but Tennessee with the points I love. I do think this is going to be a much closer game than what we saw with the Titans against Arizona. And yeah, Seahawks defense looked good against Indianapolis, but we know their defense really isn't solid. And when you got someone like Derrick Henry out there, I still think he's going to be able to run right through them. We know, like, you have Julio Jones now, you have AJ Brown, like, you have these guys. It just seemed like in week 1 they were fighting over like who their wide receiver 1 actually was. Like Derrick Henry just got basically stopped, and I have him on my fantasy team, and that was terrible. But no, I do like Tennessee with the points this week. I think they're going to start to figure it out a little bit more because this is a very solid team. I think that was more of a fluke, but it just proved again how great the Cardinals actually are, which I will never stop talking about.
Yeah, that is just you're gonna have that like all season. It'll be like it'll be like week 11. You're gonna be like, hey, you guys remember the Cardinals 38-13 win in week 1?
Yes, against the Titans, which is like that's like not coming in and beating a no-name team. Like that's beating the Titans. So I won't get over it. But yes,
agreed.
I love Tennessee with the points this weekend.
I like it. But I agree. I would take Seattle money line. I think Seattle wins the game, but I think this is like a 3-point. I think this is like a field goal game here.
I'm honestly shocked that the spread is this much.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Like, I feel like this is gimme money.
I hope so. But also it could be one of those that's just like it's just too easy, and I'm just completely wrong. Because Seattle is like they were my team last year. It was like the first like 8 weeks of the year. It's like I think they were on my card like every week because they were just. It seems like at the beginning of the season every year they're just a wagon. And then they just kind of go until the wheels fall off. Unfortunately, that happens more than not. So let's move on to okay, Ryan, you already gave your over. Jordyn, let's get yours.
Okay. So I am rolling with my squad in this one. Eagles, 49ers, the over is set at 49 right now. And I am easily taking the over here. I think this is going to be a very offensive game, very offense heavy game, very high scoring. We know the biggest red flag that I saw from the Eagles in week 1 was our run defense. And granted, 49ers lost Mostert, so they're down their RB1, but then they got Mitchell to kind of fill right in there. And there's some weird stuff going on with Sermon, but I had Mitchell, of course, on my bench in a fantasy league. I just got lucky to have him, but he came in and was putting up points like the second Mostert went down. So I feel confident about that. We know too, if you can get Kittle moving, like the 49ers have the guys on offense to come in and put up points. And the Eagles walking up and putting 32 points up on the board on their own. We see Jalen Hurts making miracles happen. And granted, the 49ers defense is much, much stronger than the Atlanta Falcons. But if we can do that against the Falcons, we're going to be able to do something against the 49ers. And the 49ers defense really doesn't scare me that much. Like, I still think we're going to be able to get around them. So I love the over here.
Okay. Life's too short to bet the under. I love that.
Yes.
Take the over in this game, over 49. We saw Jalen Hurts go for 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
3.
So 3.
Dallas Goedert, Jalen Reagor, and Devontae Smith.
And San Francisco did put up a lot of points on Detroit. They let Detroit hang around. I think I like this pick over 49. It doesn't feel like it's enough points. Ryan, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I like that pick. Sorry. But yeah, no, I like San Francisco. I think the Eagles be decent. So yeah, I like Devontae Smith. So
That hanging up behind me.
Love it. All right. So for my over, I am going to go with Minnesota, Arizona over 50.5 for similar reasons as Jordyn mentioned earlier, why she likes Arizona to win the game. They put up 38 points in week 1. I know that's like, you can make the argument, okay, they kind of played the perfect game. Like, can they get much better than that? But against this Minnesota secondary, I think Kyler Murray can. And with the 2 pass rushers they're gonna be missing on Sunday, I love this over. And it's not like Minnesota can't put up points themselves either. They've got Thielen, who scored 2 touchdowns last week. Dalvin Cook had an off week with only 60 yards, but Justin Jefferson is still able to get loose. I don't know. I don't think this is high enough. Over 50.5 at -110. Minnesota was one of the best teams in the league last year at overs. 11 overs were 11-5 in Minnesota games last year. Yeah, they gave up 27 to the Bengals offense. Like, just imagine what this Arizona offense can do to them. So I'm gonna ride that trend. So yeah, Minnesota, Arizona over 50.5.
Love it. I love everything about that.
Ryan, let's go back to you for your under.
All right, my under. I'm going to go Broncos, Jags under 45.5. I just feel like this game is going to be kind of a snooze fest. So I don't remember what stat you told me last week, but I guess my unders are pretty solid.
Hold on.
I would have never have guessed that because I hate point totals. So
for his career on Maloney's money line, Ryan's unders are 17-9.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I look at games and I'm like, that looks like a boring game. So.
That's how you decide that game sucks.
Yeah,
it's going under. I love it. Jordyn, did you have an under? I don't know if you sent me one.
I don't think I sent it, but I can give one real quick, and that would easily be New England Patriots and the New York Jets. Unders 42.5. I just can see this easily being like a 14-12 game. Like, I can't really see much happening here. It's like Mac Jones and Zach Wilson are both still trying to figure it out a little bit. And I do think the Patriots are going to come out on top here. I don't think the Jets are really going to be able to give them a run for their money, but I can just see this being like very back and forth, getting into the red zone, but not being able to make anything happen. A lot of field goals and just another, like, just seems like a boring game because it's 2 teams that are both still figuring it out a little bit. So yeah, I would take the under here.
Yes, it feels like a Saturday afternoon Big Ten football game between like Wisconsin and Iowa, where they're going to score like 9 points combined. Yeah, I absolutely under 42.5. I think that is the play here. Patriots are getting 5.5 points going to New York. That crazy Bill Belichick stat everybody always brings up is like he's 13-0 against rookie quarterbacks, but that's at home. I think on the road, he's only like 8-6 against rookie quarterbacks. So not as good, but I still will take the Patriots here. I just really hard for me to trust the New York Jets at any point. I think Zach Wilson didn't look bad week 1. Didn't look bad. He was able to step up in the pocket and make a few throws while he was just getting clobbered behind that terrible offensive line. But I don't know. The Patriots defense is really good this year. I like what they were able to do in the offseason. So yeah, under 42.5. I'm going to ride with that. My under, I am going LA Rams and the Indianapolis Colts under 48. I know what the LA offense was able to do last week to the Bears, but I think the Indianapolis defense is better. Unders were 12-7 in Rams games in 2020, and they're 31-23 in Rams games since 2018. They're one of the best teams at games going under because they have just a fucking incredible defense. I do think Indiana is going to be able to move the ball a little bit better than Chicago, but I think their defense is going to keep the Rams in check more than the Bears were. I don't know. I love the under here. I'm riding with the trend that 31-23 since 2018. Really like the number. So under 48, -112. And I think it's not like a look ahead game, but I think they might have a little bit of a hangover coming off of that big win over Chicago and get off to a little bit of a slow start against the Colts. And I think the Colts are going to be hungry after that performance week 1. God, I cannot talk. So that is
Andy,
my
are you
that.
just upset because they completely ran over the Bears?
Well, Ryan's a Bears fan too. We can both speak to it. I'm upset.
Okay.
I'm not upset that they lost because I figured they would lose. I'm upset at like how
was
they lost.
embarrassing.
It was just how embarrassing it was. It's just like, Roger, listen to me right now. Stop putting the Bears on prime time. You just embarrass us in front of the whole fucking
every
country.
time.
We never look good on prime time. Never.
Dude, that's like the Bucks have to play basically all of the NFC East. Eagles, Washington, and Cowboys. They get to play them all in prime time. And Cowboys, honestly, that was a good game to open up this season. But Eagles and Washington in prime time against the Bucks makes me nervous.
Yeah.
No one,
don't
do that. Put it in a 1 o'clock slot.
Put it in. No, you know what? They need to put it in the 425 or 325 spot, but let's like when the weeks where they have like 4. So they've got the 2 national games, and then that one will just be the one that nobody watches.
Yeah, and it'll just blend in and no one will know.
Yeah, exactly. So it is time for our locks of the week. Ryan, you better lock it up.
Lock it
up. You go ahead. Hit us with your lock, Ryan.
All right. I'm going to stay in that game that you just picked, Andy. You kind of made me feel a little on the fence about it, but I'm going to take the Rams -3.5 versus the Colts. Like you mentioned, we saw how good the Rams offense is, obviously against a really bad Bears defense. But I don't know. I can see them winning by a touchdown in this game.
I still think the Rams win. I just think the total stays under.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I mean, you're correct. The Colts defense is far better than the Bears. So we'll see how it goes. But hopefully the Rams can win by 4 or more.
4 or more. All right, let's go to your lock of the week, Jordy. What do you got for us?
My lock of the week, it's a very easy one, but if anyone thinks the Texans are actually good after week 1, you're just wrong. They got lucky. And when you have the Browns that came in and if they were playing any other team would be 1-0 right now, like the only reason they lost is because Patrick Mahomes is the best to ever do it. I'm looking at the spread right now. Browns are favored by 13 on DraftKings, and I would literally take that. Like I am that, like it's going to be a blowout. I'm definitely putting my money on Browns money line. But I honestly like the -13 too, and the odds are -105. So I love everything about this just because I feel like some people are going to be convinced that the Texans are actually going to be able to play football for the rest of the season. And I'm like, you really have to understand you are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars with Urban Meyer as their head coach. Like this is not anything to get super excited about. Their team is like 100 years old. So everyone on the on the Texans is just like ancient, other than like Philip Lindsay, who is getting up there too. So
no,
I didn't even know. I was sitting there watching the game. I was watching Red Zone and they cut to it. And I was like, when the hell did Danny Amendola become a Texan?
I was going to say the fucking same exact thing.
Yeah,
dude.
When did that happen? I didn't even hear anything about it. And then he's catching balls left and right. I was like, what the hell is going on right now? But no, that was a fluky game for the Texans to be able to come in and put as many points up as they did. I'm glad Tyrod Taylor got to have that game, but they're not making a habit of it. So yeah, Browns money line, Browns -13, whatever you feel more comfortable with. I'd take either, and I love the Browns against the Texans this week.
I think I texted Ryan like that exact same thing. That it was like, I've got no idea. It's like, and we're in this like Discord chat, this gambling Discord chat for some of our like pick 'em pools and shit. And one of our buddies was like, just imagine a washed up veteran, and there's a 50% chance that he is on the Houston Texans right now.
Literally. It's like where like ancient players go to die, basically.
Andy texted me that Danny Amendola was on the Texans, and I was like, I thought he was retired.
I thought he was still a free agent. Like I literally didn't know anyone picked him up.
I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. So my lock of the week, I love this pick. Denver -6 at Jacksonville. Teddy Bridgewater is 22-3 against the spread as a starting quarterback on the road. Give it to me. All day. All goddamn day. all day. Jacksonville, we saw how bad they looked in week 1 against a Houston team. This Denver team that just went into New York and took care of business. Yeah, give me this 6 all day. I think they easily win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm super high on the Broncos defense this year. So
yeah, I mean, it's like what? It's 3rd or 4th year of Fangio, so it's kind of like he's really got to figure it out this year, especially being the defensive coach. So you'd like to hope that, and what they add Kyle Fuller to that secondary this year. I mean, Ryan, you and I can speak to how great he was for us forever, and
they both
Fangio's
can just come back to the Bears
anytime. If it doesn't work out in Denver, we will welcome you back with open arms. So my lock of the week, Denver -6 at Jacksonville. That's -113 is the juice there. So now we go to our other general picks. They can be anything. It doesn't have to be an over. It doesn't have to be a favorite or an underdog. Jordyn, we will start with you because I am very intrigued by these general picks you got here.
Well, I just want to say before we get into them, last week I didn't lose a single bet and I was 12-4 with my weekly pick'ems. So that was probably a terrible way to start this season because now I'm super confident and I'm like, oh my God, I can't lose. But I had a parlay that was straight up money line and it was Cardinals, Eagles, Bengals. There was one other one in there. That's all I can think of, but it hit. And I was like, great. So now I'm rolling with these teams all the way around again. So my one that I love is the Eagles +3, just because I have like an actual gut feeling that we are winning this game against the 49ers after everything we saw against the Falcons. I see no reason why we can't come in and beat the 49ers. I mean, we killed it on offense. Our defense, like I said, our run defense scares me, but their top running back is hurt. If we can play defense like we do in the red zone all over the field, there's literally nothing for me to be concerned about because we can hold them where it matters. I just think, and it's our first home game this season. So coming into Philly after an incredible win, it's hard for me to think that they're going to lose. So I love Eagles +3. Thank you, Daniel. Go Birds. Fly, Eagles, fly. Another
bang,
one
bang,
I love.
Bird gang.
Oh, yeah. Nobody likes us. We don't care. I also love the Raiders +6.5. I'm honestly really shocked after what we saw against the Ravens that it was even this much. I think the Raiders can easily come in and win this game if I'm being 100% completely honest. So I really love this. I think Derek Carr had a really rough start, but I think he's going to figure it out. I think that was a fluke. We saw him really get it together last season. So we know that he can be better than what we saw last week. So I'm super excited for this game. And another one that I am super gung-ho about, Bengals +2.5. I took Bengals money line last week, and they had me sweating it out because it came down to double zeros in overtime and a freaking field goal, but they pulled it out. But I'm sorry to do this against you two because I know you're both Bears fans. However, I think I'm just going to keep betting against the Bears until they put Justin Fields in as a starter. And that's
fucking we'll ride with you. Jesus
Thank
Christ.
you. So those are my three other picks for this week.
I saw this Bears line and it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how Cincinnati's not favored in this game, to be honest.
Because it's a Dalton revenge game.
Yeah.
Dalton revenge game.
The Red Rocket. Oh my God. Watch him. That would be hilarious if it would be a revenge game.
Just threw like 5 touchdowns.
Right, well, we already saw Jamar Chase 6 receptions for 101 and a touchdown last week. Imagine what he's going to do to this fucking Bears secondary. It's just, I mean, Cincinnati doesn't have a good secondary either.
No.
So, but the Bears don't want to throw the ball farther than 8 yards down the field. So, we'll see. But I love these underdogs you're taking here. I think I really want to ride with you on this Las Vegas +6.5 versus Pittsburgh because I didn't understand, but I was like looking at some numbers. Off of a win since 2018, Pittsburgh is 18-9-1 against the spread. I don't know, and they were very disrespected this offseason, so we will see. I think it's going to be a great game. Ryan, we'll let you knock out your 3 general picks, and then I will do mine, and we will yeah, that's like almost all we have.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I gave out one earlier. I'm on the Dolphins plus 3.5 versus the Bills. I hate betting against the Bills. I have a future on them to win the Super Bowl this year. I love Josh Allen, but yeah, I mean, I'm just going to continue taking the Dolphins until they fail me.
Until they fuck up, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I know I love the Dolphins, and at home against the Bills, I think it'll be a good game. So I'll take the 3.5 points there. And then my other general pick, I'm going Chiefs minus 3.5 versus the Ravens. Chiefs, kind of started a little slow against the Browns last week, but it was an incredible game. They're still the Chiefs. I know they have a fairly new offensive line, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes from here. And I don't really trust the Ravens offensive line. So, but yeah, I'll take the Chiefs in this game. And then last pick, I don't really love this pick, but I'm going to take the Cowboys plus 3.5 versus the Chargers.
No.
I know I'm high on the Chargers this year too. I don't know. I could just see this being, I would even maybe sprinkle a little on the money line for this, but it looks like Dak is coming back hot, and I don't know. They got a lot of weapons. They got Amari and CeeDee Lamb, so we'll see how it goes. But no, I do love the Chargers. I am high on them too, which is
I got my
looked
Justin
at it
Herbert
and
jersey hidden behind my Devontae Smith one right now.
Love it.
D-Bake in the chat says Texans plus 12, Eagles plus 3, and Rams. Rams are getting minus 3.5. I don't know if I agree with this Dallas plus 3.5, but I think that just in my heart of hearts, just wanting the Cowboys to lose. I think that's,
I think the only reason I picked them is because I looked at my card and it was all favorites, and I needed a couple of underdogs, so I just took the Cowboys.
Right. This KC minus 3.5. That is another one that feels like just way too easy. That makes me nervous. But like the past 3 or 4 years, Kansas City has just owned Baltimore, absolutely owned them. Lamar has said it himself, just we have not played well against them. So it'll be interesting.
And they're so decrepit, the Ravens right now. They're just, it's unfortunate, but they're dealing with so much. So to go in and if they couldn't beat Derek Carr and the Raiders, who basically handed that game to them at one point, if they can't pull out a win there, you can't come in and beat the Chiefs comfortably. It's just not going to happen. And that's me. I love Lamar Jackson more than it pains me to say that, but we have to be realistic with their situation right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jordan, I have a text from Tom Scavetta that you're not going to love, but it says Eagles suck. I'm taking the 49ers line. Just shots fired, unnecessary shots fired from the Giants fan. He's still, you know what? He's still salty about that loss last night. That's what you have to attribute that to. He's still reeling. So my last 3 NFL picks, it was bad.
I was streaming it during the concert, and I was like, "There's no way this is happening right now."
Just so many moments you just go, "What the fuck?"
I know.
So my first one, staying in that Chargers and Dallas game. Excuse me, I had an itch on my ear. LAC Dallas over 54.5, minus 113. These are 2 explosive offenses. I think both teams were not in overs in both of these teams' games in 2020 were 9-7. So I'm gonna stay with that trend, but I mean, Dak throwing for 400 yards against the Tampa Bay defense that returned all of its starters from a Super Bowl team last year. They were able to put points on the board. They lose by 1 or 2 points. The Chargers only put up 20 against the football team, but I think Herbert still threw for 337, and they were able to move the ball. I don't know. I just feel that this has all the makings of a very high scoring game. 54.5 is a high total, but anytime it gets in the 50s, I just feel like it's just daring me to bet on it, and I ain't no bitch. So I am taking LAC Dallas over 54.5. My second one is another total, Green Bay and Detroit over 48.5. This is a bounce back game for Green Bay. As much as I hate to say it, they're minus 11 on the spread. I want to take it, but at the same time, I don't. But also, I feel like if I take it, they might lose, which I am okay with that. Overs were 11-7 in Green Bay games last year and 10-6 in Detroit games in 2020. Detroit's defense sucks. Green Bay's defense isn't anything to write home about. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to try to bounce back after that, like, honestly, one of the worst performances of his career last week.
I think it was top 3. Like worst like statistically, it was that
statistically, but and the worst loss he's ever had, 38-3. But the 2 interceptions is just something you almost never see. They're in prime time. It has all the makings of a Aaron Rodgers dick sucking fest on Sunday night. So my last pick, this is one Jordan talked about earlier, is Cleveland -13 versus Houston. The Texans are bad. They're bad. Cleveland controlled the game versus Kansas City last week for like 3.5 quarters. I think they can easily win by 2 touchdowns. I say that, but it's like these NFL games that are, like, have these spreads, like, always seem to go like one of 2 ways. Like, it's either a blowout or and everybody's happy, or they just like don't give a fuck and they win by 7 and everybody's like, what the fuck? I took Cleveland -13. What is that? But I can't take Houston +13. I just can't. They beat the worst team in the league in the Jaguars. Going into that game, I thought Houston was the worst team in the league. And I think Cleveland is primed, in my opinion, to win the North this year. I have a future on them to win the North. And everybody knows the stat, like, teams that start the season 0-2 don't make the playoffs. If Cleveland needs to get going, and I don't want to say they need to get going quick, I think they win this game, but I think it has potential to be a mollywhopping. So I'm taking Cleveland -13. And there are a couple other games. Like, I really liked Las Vegas +6.5. I liked the Chiefs +3.5. Or no, I'm sorry, -3.5. But this just, I don't know. I gotta have. I'm taking it. I got to stop talking or I'm going to talk myself out of it. So, Jordy, this has been incredible. Ryan and I each have 2 more college football picks. If you'd like to stick around for those, you can. If you'd like to get out of here or you need to go, you can. I'm going to leave that up to you.
I probably won't have too much input. Like I said, I just started getting into betting on college, but I'm going to stay and listen.
Let's
hear your
go. I love it. So, Ryan, start us off. You just have 2, right?
Yeah, you want me to get both of them?
Perfect. Yeah, you give yours, I'll give mine, and we'll talk it out for a second.
All right. My first one, I'm going to go Auburn +5 versus Penn State. I'm pretty sure this is at Penn State, and it's a whiteout game. It
is.
But it could be a close one. Auburn could come in, and I'll take the 5 points there. So.
Bo Nix sucks.
Whiteout, yeah, he does. I think most of his interceptions are on the road too. But
the whiteouts are electric. Though.
Yeah, it is.
But I think Penn State's only 8-8 all time in their whiteout games.
Mm-hmm. So,
but I don't think Auburn's good though.
No, they're not.
I'm not really hearing any.
You're taking them.
Yeah, I'm not really hearing any defense for why you're taking them.
I don't know. I just like that game. So
Ryan, he sees a game, he sees a line, he likes it, he takes it.
I love it.
It's worked so far.
Yes.
He won last year. He had a better record than me with that fucking strategy all goddamn year. All right, and then your second pick.
All right, second pick. I'm going to go Coastal Carolina, Buffalo over 58. These 2 teams always are extremely high scoring. I don't think there's going to be much defense played in this game, so I'm going to take the points there. And that's that.
And that's that. Okay. Buffalo, they lost their head coach, a slew of transfers in the offseason. They bring Kyle Van Treese back at quarterback. They played at Nebraska last week. They only scored 3 points, but I think in their first game they put up 60. So, and I mean, Coastal, they like to, excuse me, Coastal, they score the ball pretty well. They actually let Kansas kind of hang around last week and score, I think, 20 or 21 points. So, yeah, I love this over 58. Life's too short to bet the under. We know that. So, my last 2 picks before we close it out, Michigan State +6.5 at Miami. I love the Spartans in this game. I'm probably a little biased just because, like, after that beatdown Miami took against Alabama on primetime, which, like, everybody saw. So that's, like, still fresh in my mind. But then last week, they host an not Alabama State. They host an Appalachian State team, and I think they only ended up winning by 2 or 3. Michigan State went on the road week 1 and upset Northwestern. They had a convincing win last week as well. Kenneth Walker is a name to watch out of the backfield. He's explosive. He has over almost 400 yards on the year and I think 5 touchdowns. I love the Spartans here. They've scored on their first play from scrimmage in their first 2 games. I would love that trend to continue. I think they are able to cover. I'm not saying Miami's like a bad team. I just don't think they're that great. I just think they're a middle of the road ACC team. And then finally, I'm going Mississippi State and Memphis over 64. Give me all the fucking points. Both of these teams love to score. Mississippi State is a Mike Leach offense. It's the air raid. They throw the ball more than anybody. In the game against Arkansas State, Memphis's defense gave up 520 yards of offense and like 4 touchdowns. This is going to be an absolute shootout. Absolute shootout. You don't see these games often from the SEC and the American. So I think Memphis is going to get up for the game. Their offense is actually really good and can score points too. 64 might seem like a lot, but in the college game with the way these spread offenses are, it's just give me it. Give me it. Those are my 2 college picks. So yeah, that's Maloney's Moneyline Week 2. Featuring SportyJordy. Jordy, thank you so much for being here. Man, this was so awesome. I'm going to make some graphics with our picks. We're going to line your picks up against me and Ryan, see who has the best record at the end of the week. And they are our week 2 winner. So you're welcome back whenever you'd like to come share your hot takes, share your picks. But seriously, we appreciate this so much. I want to give you a chance once again to plug all of your stuff and the a million wonderful things you are doing nowadays. But yeah,
thank you so much. And I just noticed your lovely t-shirt. That is incredible. Where would you get a t-shirt like that?
bonfire.com/SportyJordy, I think. I don't
love it. But yes, you can find me again, all social medias at the SportyJordy. You can find me doing a bunch of stuff over at the Liberty Line. Make sure to check out their website, all their articles, betting advice, blogs, podcasts, all that fun stuff. At Eagles.WalterPicks for all Eagles fantasy and betting on TikTok. Also my shows throughout the week, Onside Chicks and Fantasy Underdogs. So I'm basically always on my computer and always talking about football. So I really can't complain.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we love having you. Always good to talk to you. Always good to get your takes. Good luck to your Eagles this week. Tough game against the 49ers. I don't know if you saw it, but I was talking to Sam this week, and she had mentioned how good Jalen Hurts looked. And I said, "Oh, do you let Jordyn know your thoughts about Jalen Hurts?" She goes, "No, I can't let Jordyn know any of my vulnerabilities. No. She cannot let you know that she, in the back of her mind, she does think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback." So,
we tend to not talk about it, but I did text her after both Giants losses so far and just said, "You know what? I'm thinking about you and I love you."
Listen, I'm in a group message with her, Hank, and Tom. So you can just imagine. You can just imagine what I was getting last night during the game. And honestly, I'm probably the worst person to be in there because I'm not afraid to give them shit and troll them for the loss. So they get not great. But all right, we're getting off topic. Follow our bets all week. I'm going to be posting the graphic here in about an hour. Ryan's bets, my bets, Jordan's bets. We're here all weekend long. We got a couple of college football bets for you guys to follow on Saturday and then all Sunday long. I think we have. Did anybody pick the Monday game? No. Yes, no. I did. I took the over. And that is the Monday game. I try to avoid the primetime ones just because I got to ride with Brew. Even though, I faded that fucking asshole last night. And of course, the Giants covered. He is 2-2 on the year. Follow along for Brew Boys picks Thursday, Sunday, and Monday nights for the primetime games. Trying to win some money in the most unconventional ways. So this is Maloney's Money Line on the Brew Party Podcast, episode 76, technically, featuring SportyJordy. Thanks to everybody for joining us on the live stream. The video is still available on our Twitter, on our Facebook, and our YouTube. YouTube.com/The Brew Party, Facebook.com/The Brew Party Podcast. And we're on Twitter and Instagram at The Brew Party, or wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, or just go to www.thebrewparty.com. Make sure you leave us a rating, a like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Trying to build up the party, join the party, and just trying to bring some winners and have a good time. Hopefully get Ryan to say more than 5 words during the show. So we're out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Brew Party Podcast, Maloney's Money Line, Week 2, featuring SportyJordy.